you have to take care of yourself. And that's with, you have to eat well and sleep enough and exercise and have pleasure and joy. And it's only through taking care of yourself that you can really take care of others. You cannot really care for other people through like this depleted state.
I am Christina Suter, and this is the Real Estate Breakthrough Show, where we talk about the reality of real estate, the mindset you need in order to face the reality of what it is, and tips and tricks to get you moving forward in investing. I am your host, Christina Suter.
So I'm with Monick Halm.
Monick Halm.
Monick Halm. And Monick, I want you to repeat what you just said.
Okay, so we were speaking about just how whether working on myself, you were saying you must have done a lot of work on yourself. And I was saying that, I have to, I have a big mission to help 1 million women create financial freedom. And I cannot achieve that mission until I allow myself to continue to up level into and just be more that person that can allow that can work at that scale. So I think with abundance, just in general, each extra digit you add to your income is a new mindset level. And as well, I think that there's a new mindset level in terms of impact as well. So to go to, or I can help 100 to 1,000 to 10,000 to 100,000 to, and on. That requires me showing up at a different level. So I'm constantly going to trainings and reading and working on myself so that I can show up in a bigger way.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. You've just spoken a truth that I live inside of as well, but I just feel like doesn't get spoken very often and doesn't get captured and sent out to the world very often. So thank you for saying that. I think there are some people, we might call them gurus, who say that, and they say it from the stage, right? And it's like, well, they're trying to sell me something. And so it's pretty easy to discount them. Oh, well, that's easy for them. That's easy for Tony Robbins. He does nothing but that all day long, right? Or it's easy for, maybe the gurus, if you study gurus, or, whatever the thought people are in our world that we listen to and that we study with and all of that. But it's my experience inside of me as well. It's not just lip service. It's not something that they're selling so they can sell more books or sell more workshops. It literally takes a greater and greater inner strength and fortitude, clarity and dedication to one's purpose every time you up level to being neither more known or making more money or being able to stabilize around having more money. There's a it's almost like, trembling on I almost think of it like a railroad train, right? Like the tracks have to be solid for a railroad train to go faster and faster and faster. I was traveling up in Canada, up to Hudson Bay, and there's permafrost under the railroad tracks there. And they literally can't go past a certain speed because even the slightest sways in the track will cause the train to fall over on its side. So the foundation underneath the train has to be solid. And it has to be well rooted in order for the train to go faster and faster. And it's true, I think, inside of our being as well. Who we are and the clarity and depth of our purpose needs to continue to grow deeper and deeper to counteract, almost be the roots underneath the depth of what we want to produce out here.
Absolutely.
So I so appreciate you letting me capture that. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
So I was just saying, so I've done all that. I'm supposed to read your bio. Want to do that real quick, and then let's jump off on like, what does you do? I mean, you use some big statements in your bio, and I would like to share that and then have you expound on that. You've already laid some beautiful groundwork on it. Monick, do I have that right? I'm sorry, I apologize.
With interesting spelling.
With the interesting spelling. Well, as the world may or may not know, I am dyslexic, so this is my weakness. Numbers, all real estate. Let's not be confused. That's not where my weakness is. but absolutely when it comes to spelling and comes to reading, I am no pro or champ in that one. Monick is the founder of Real Estate Investor Goddess. Her mission is to assist 1 million women to achieve financial freedom through real estate. She is a real estate investor, syndicator, and developer with over 15 years of real estate investing experience in multifamily, industrial, mobile home parks, RV parks, flipping, and vacation rentals. Yes, she's been very busy in her 15 years, to say the least. Together with her husband, Peter, and her investors, she owns over 1,300 rental units across 10 states. She's the #1 best-selling author of the Real Estate Investor Goddess Handbook and Wealth for Women: Conversations with the Team That Creates the Dream, and the host of the Real Estate Investor Goddess podcast. She's also a real estate strategy mentor, Huffington Post contributing author, keynote speaker, recovered attorney, which is how we got into that conversation, certified interior designer, feng shui expert, avid world traveler, wife, and mother of 3 amazing kids. And if they're anything like you, I am sure they are amazing. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Sure. So you read that I'm a recovered attorney. I started my career in law, not because I had some deep passion for law, but because growing up, my parents always told me, Monique, you can be anything you want. In parentheses, though, as long as you're a doctor, lawyer, professor, engineer. For them, that was success.
Right. That was the anything, right?
Yeah. I'm a first generation American. That's what they knew as success. So I chose, I wasn't as in sciences, I guess law, right? So it's like a process of elimination. That's where I ended up. Went to an Ivy League law school, partnership track, big law firm, 6-figure income. I had done everything right. I'd followed the path exactly. So that was the way to happiness and success and all the things. And yet I found myself really unhappy. In fact, I didn't realize how unhappy is an understatement. I was miserable, but I didn't realize how miserable I was until one Tuesday morning. I'd been having these horrible stomach pains, and I went to the ER, and the doctor told me my appendix had ruptured. I'd have to be in the hospital several days. I ended up being in the hospital 9 days, and he said, "You're gonna have to have at least 30 days at home afterwards to recover." My first thought when he told me that was, oh, thank God I don't have to go to the office for at least 30 days. I was like, you might as well have told me I'd won the lottery. Like, that's how much relief and joy I felt in that moment. And then my next thought was, oh, wait, that's bad. Like, I didn't really. Then it hit me. I was like, I am really miserable. Like, being in the hospital with a life-threatening, excruciating illness is better than being in the office. Like, this is wrong. But I'd done everything right. So why am I that unhappy? And not just that, I remember being in the hospital thinking, and I was even talking with some other associates who were also pretty miserable, but I was going, I'm pretty happy. I just gotten my appendix had just been taken out, and thinking, what other organs do I need? I was like, I don't need tonsils. I definitely don't need tonsils. And that's at least 2 weeks. It's like gallbladders necessary. Like, what do they even do? Spleens? I don't know what they do, but I could get rid of that. So that's how miserable I was.
Yeah.
And,
pretty miserable. I have
it
to.
was really miserable.
I have a story similar, but mine has to do with high school.
Oh,
there you go. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I knew I had to find a different path, I think, and it was a very roundabout way of getting out of law. I tried different law firms, like another big firm, a smaller firm, just trying different things in order to find a path that would provide the promise of happiness and joy and success like that I'd been told my whole life I would get. And real estate was something that I fell into accidentally. The only thing that I'd ever been taught about real estate is that you should buy your own house, right? You get your job, you work until you're 65, 70. At some point you buy a house, get a car, whatever. Then you retire, you get a gold watch, you play golf, you die like that. That's the path.
That's
Right?
the whole plan. Right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's the whole plan.
And that's the American dream, and that makes you happy. So I've been working for a while, and I thought, all right, I guess it's time to get that house. Living in Los Angeles, which is such an expensive market, even though I had a 6-figure salary, it was hard to, this is back in 2005, just trying to find a house. Even then, a semi-decent house, a semi-decent neighborhood is upwards of $600,000, $700,000. You're nodding, there. So
I'm with you. And it's 2005. So
Yeah.
it's not only is it 2005, it's a highly competitive market.
Yeah.
Right.
Towards
So
the
you're
top of the last,
constantly-
right? Like
Yeah.
towards the top of that last bubble, right? The last height. And so, yeah, there are people that sometimes listen to my story from other markets. And they're like, how can you have a 6-figure income and not be able to buy a house? Like, you don't know Los Angeles real estate. This is not a mansion in Bel Air, Beverly Hills. It's just a neighborhood where you're not likely to have drive-by shootings. Like, that was it. I was not trying to be fancy.
That's right.
Yes,
just a house for me and my kids, whoever they are, and I feel safe letting them play in the front yard. That's all I want.
That's all I wanted.
Just
Not
a little
fancy.
postage stamp in the universe.
But in order to be able to do that, I couldn't afford it by myself. I had a friend who was in a similar boat who suggested that we buy a duplex together. Original idea was he'd live on one side, I'd live on the other side. We could both afford half a house. So we said, yeah, let's do that. But instead of finding a house with 2 equal sides, we ended up falling in love with this beautiful 1915 Craftsman that had a larger unit in the downstairs. It was a 2-bedroom upstairs, a converted garage in the back. And so we each took a bedroom in a large unit, rented out the upstairs, rented our back house, even rented out our basement. And I started house hacking before I knew that was a thing.
That's right.
I was like, oh my gosh,
Nice.
like these people are paying my mortgage.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're probably almost like doing the math really fast in my head. I'm like, okay, she's renting out at least 2 other units. She's in the 3rd unit. She may have taken the biggest unit, but she probably is almost covering her mortgage, if not like 50%, 2/3 of her mortgage.
Yeah, like,
covered.
Yeah,
right?
It was awesome.
Right.
I was like, sweet. So I was just trying to afford the property. And now, and so I became a landlord, but not intentionally, but it worked out really well. I still didn't think of this as a way of escaping the misery that was my law job.
No, you were just trying to find a home.
It's just trying to get the house, because that's the path, right? Like you need to get the house. And when I met my husband, he actually had a duplex, and we ended up getting a single family rental together after the crash of 2008-9, which hit us very hard. But we sold one of the duplexes, and then we started to flip houses when the houses were on sale. And we were flipping, and that's really all I knew about real estate investing. I was like the accidental landlording, and then flipping from what I saw on those HGTV shows. I was like, oh, I think we've done renovations in our house. We can do this. And so we probably made tons of mistakes, but the market was just so in our favor. It was very hard to lose money at that point. We went till about 2015, and then the houses were not so on sale. It was getting more and more expensive and competitive. And
I know some people who stopped in 2012. So the fact that you were able to run it to 2015 meant that you were actually running a relatively good, because the 2009, 10, 11, and 12, that was all bumping along the bottom of the market, right?
Yeah.
And in 2012, I found some wholesalers started going, I can't seem to get the same deal. Like I have to work harder to get into it. So it's 2012 that I started hearing wholesalers go, market's changing, right? And then but you were able to continue to stay competitive.
Dang, there was so much runway. It's like, what?
There was still a lot of runway after 2012.
So much runway.
2015 is when it started getting more flat again, right? So 2012 right to 2015 was ideal.
Yeah, and it's still gone up since, but
yes, it has.
But 2015, the margins were getting slimmer and slimmer,
right?
Getting more and more competitive, and it's active income, right? And I wanted to have passive income. I wanted to be able to do something buy and hold. So I started looking for some buy and hold properties, a fourplex in LA, and nothing cash flows here. So I'd be spending $2 million or upwards for zero cash flow. And I was really frustrated. I'm frustrated with the flipping, frustrated with this, like it's trying to find this fourplex. And a friend of mine I was in a mastermind, and my friend in the mastermind said, I have a friend who's coming to LA tomorrow night. He's the host of Real Estate Guys Radio podcasts, like one of the
Real
number
Estate
one
Guys, yeah.
podcasts. And he's done 100 million, like million, $100 million worth of real estate. He's going to come tomorrow night. You should come and talk to him. And it's Robert Helms. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure he knows something I don't know. So I went, I remember it's October 15, 2015. And we were just chatting for a few minutes before dinner. And that one conversation changed my life. So the first thing he said was, like, he was asking what I was doing. I was telling him about the flipping and how competitive hard that was and trying to find this fourplex. He said, LA is a really tough market. I always say, live where you want to live, invest where the numbers make sense. And I went, oh. Until he said that, I just assumed that you had to live where you could touch your property, drive through it, self-manage it. It didn't occur to me that I could invest outside of where I live. So I went, oh, wow. And so that literally opened up the world to me. And there are a lot of markets that are a lot better to invest in than Los Angeles.
A lot of them. Like another potentially 2,000 plus markets where
like pretty much 99% of the world is like a better market than Los Angeles.
I haven't done the calculations of the MSA, but yes, there is, a lot of markets, a lot of other MSAs you can invest in that will absolutely cash flow.
I think it's easy to say, like, 90% probably of the world is like a better market.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then the next thing he said was, oh, and you can get that fourplex by yourself, but you're limited to your own capital and credit. Instead, you could bring a group of investors together and you could get a 100 or 200 unit apartment building. And he started telling me about the benefits of that, the economies of scale, and how you can spread the risk and the benefits, help other people. And my brain, I think, exploded. It's like, what? Like, that's a thing? Like, you can 100, 200 units? I thought, like, you had to be a billionaire to do that. It never occurred to me that regular people could do that. And I just got this full body, like, yes, I want to do that. I want to do that. And I want to be around people who think that's normal. Because until that moment, everyone around me thought the fourplex was a really big deal.
It was a stretch. Why are you doing a fourplex? Wow.
You're flipping a house. That's like huge.
Right.
And it's like, I want to be around people who think 200 is no big deal. 200 units. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. So that's what I decided to do. I said, yeah, I'm going to learn this. I told him, I'm going to be your groupie. I'm going to learn from you. He laughed. He thought I was kidding. He's not kidding. I went around the world, literally
around for a while,
learning from him and others. And I went home, told my husband, it's like, oh my gosh, there's this thing. It's called syndication. You bring groups of investors together. So that night we bought tickets to this syndication seminar, which was happening in January 2016. So we attended it in that January. So much of it was over my head. I was like, all of these, I didn't know what a cap rate was, and NOI and DSCR and all these things. And I was just like, I don't know what this means, but yes, like, I'm in. I want this. Like, I will learn that, but I don't know what that means yet, but I want this. And so we went full in, hired them as mentors, got some other mentors for apartment investing, went to real estate conferences all over to learn. And it paid off. Like that year, we had 2 doors at the beginning of the year. We ended the 2016 with over 1,012 to be exact. Some passive.
Yeah, girl. Nice.
Yeah. So we really, it was amazing. It was just like quantum leaping. And also I remember being at that first conference when I was like, yes, this is it. And in between too, being a lawyer and getting more into real estate, I had become a coach, and I became this abundance coach for women. So I was working with women around money at the time anyway. The real estate was bringing in most of our money, but I was an abundance coach for women. So as I was, that first conference was a Friday and Saturday. We stayed over Saturday night for some networking, and then Sunday morning I'm at the hotel gym on the elliptical, just kind of processing the weekend. And they're talking about, if you want to syndicate, you think like you have to build your network. Who do you want to work with? Build a brand, build a network. And it came as this divine download. It's like, I've been thinking back in that room. It's like, there were about 120 people in that room. Maybe 8 were women. Maybe I think 2 were working in the back. Like there were so few women in that room.
Yeah, 10%. My count on average is about 10%. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll get 15 to 20%. But yes,
it was less than 10% in that room.
10 less than 10. There you go.
And it came. You need to bring women into this room. Like this is real estate investing is perfect for women who, if they have to leave, they were taking care of kids, it's passive income. And people aren't talking to women about this. So bring women into this room, and this mission to help 1 million women create financial freedom through real estate investing, that came to me there. And it was like, God, here's your mission. Should you choose to accept it?
Yes.
And again, not the how of it, but just like,
just the target. There's your target.
Is the target. And again, I felt this full body, like, yes, this has got chills. And I'm like, oh, that's what I meant to do. Like bring together all this stuff that I'd been doing. So working with women around like their money mindset. And I'd been studying the divine feminine since 2004. So bringing in that piece of how do you do this in the feminine way in the real estate investing, and all of it came together. I was like, and I'm still working on getting to that million, but that goal came to me there.
You have a lot of years ahead of you. I wouldn't be surprised if you get to the million.
Oh, I'm getting to that million. Well, not just me, but me with higher power. I'm showing up for it. However,
you're showing up for it. You're showing up for it, and you're doing the steps every day that it takes to get closer and closer to it, to get to that target.
And I'm not doing it alone. So I tell my goddesses and my class and my events, like, I can't do 1 million by myself, but if I have 100, and then you reach back and you pull one, and then they reach back and they pull one. Mm-hmm. And our mantra at our events is, I am here to be financially free and to bring others along with me. Mm-hmm. So, and we repeat that at our events. So it's together, that's a very doable goal.
Love that. I love it.
You're doing that too.
Huh?
I said, you're doing that work too.
I'm doing that work too. I'm not focused on women, but I am focused on bringing people along. So transformation, abundance, and freedom for myself and others.
Yeah.
That's my goal. That's my target. Transformation, abundance, and freedom for myself and others.
That's why I focus on women too, because we're wired that way. We're not. So when you give a woman more, once her needs are met, she's going to pull in others. She
rolls it forward.
She takes care of the kids. She brings her men along. She brings like the mamas and the sisters and the cousins and the neighbors and the besties. Yeah. So like we're not going to keep a good thing to ourselves. We share it. We bring in others. And so helping women is my shortcut to helping everyone.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It makes perfect, because they will. I mean, they will, and we do. And I think there's an element in there. We're in I'm going to get really woo-woo. And anybody who wants to turn this off, you can turn it off if you want to, but I want to go here with you. I really feel like we're in a time where there's a transition. There's a transition between a more masculine-based, if you want to call it that, more masculine-based power, and a more feminine-based power or approach. And I feel like we're in this transition. And it really is sort of like, maybe the more masculine is about collecting your reserves, collecting your resources, making sure you have them, and that you can dole them out to the people that are in your care, in your protection, right? Because they are about protecting and about providing for their immediates. That's very masculine based, you could say. But they're not necessarily about spreading it all, giving it all out, right? Whereas women, we're much more about bringing it together, kind of much more like, whether it's like in horses, the lead is the female, is the herd, the lead of the herd is a female. And so it's more like, this is my herd, like this is my group, and I spread it out, and I bring in the youngins in, and we bring all these people in under our umbrella and under our touch, right? Under our capacity. And even if we just touch them for a meal, right? Just one meal, like that's satisfying. Even if I just know you for one moment and I've added to your life for a moment, that brings me some sense of joy and contribution to my community. So instead of like tucking it all underneath us, we're busy trying to sort of spread it out, right? And kind of, like you said, once we have enough, we want to start giving it away. As a matter of fact, we have the opposite problem, which is we'll give away more than what we have.
Yes. So this is the issue, one of the issues for women. And we're taught that to be feminine, right? We take care of everyone before ourselves. Right? So part of that is that we have to take care of the kids, we have to take care of our men, our partners, our bosses, or everything else. Then we get the scraps. Right. And whatever crumbs are left, then we can feed ourselves. And so
I have a win today. I made myself breakfast at the same time I made breakfast for everybody else. That was a win for me. I have a tendency to make everybody else breakfast, and I go, oh, wait a minute, I'm hungry too. I had to make myself breakfast.
That unfortunately is what we're,
is that not the example
now?
Right? Yeah.
But
okay,
when I'm teaching, what part of what I teach is, being in the feminine, but it's also a pleasure-based approach. We have to stay in pleasure ourselves. We have to fill our own cup up, put on our own oxygen mask on first, and then from our overflow, we take care of others. That way we can't take care of others from our depletion. And that's why there's this pandemic among women of this like depression or rage, or like trying to overeat, or, we have to have like wine therapy or retail therapy or whatever, right, to handle life, because we're trying to stuff it but we're not really caring for ourselves first. So it's part of like when I make my, it's like I make my goddesses, you need your daily dose of vitamin P, vitamin pleasure, to like take self-care. So what are you doing to care for yourself? What are you doing to stay in a elevated state? From there, it's like, because if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Right? Like,
okay, yes. Okay, so let me launch off of there, because I'm just so with you in this. So take care of yourself so you can choose to take care of others, is a statement I was taught. Take care of yourself so you can choose to take care of others, because once you're full, you will naturally want to take care of others. And I know a lot of masculines who do that too, but it is definitely true of the feminines, right? Take care of yourself so you can choose to take care of others. And then oh man, what did you just say that made me interrupt you? No, I lost it.
Mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Oh, that's it. And if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. Like there's a woman's work there's a woman's work I took that talks a little bit how like we're a little like the sun. Like we're a little like the center of the universe in our families. We give out joy, we give out nurturing, we give out normalcy, we create a sense of heat and direction and homeness, right? Wholeness to the life of the people around us. And it's a little like we're the sun. If we're just kind of glowing, life does better for everybody around us. But if we're not in that state of glowing, either we're not willing to, or we're not full enough to, then it gets hard, not just for ourselves, but for the people around us. Like it takes it for me from a state of, oh, it'd be nice if I could glow. It'd be nice if I could get enough to. It's your freaking job, woman. Like
Yeah.
It's your job.
The plants will die.
The plants will
They're not
die
glowing.
if you ain't glowing, girl. Like, you really actually need to take this to heart and go a step beyond the, oh, if I can find myself permission to fill myself. It's like, no. It is your job to fill yourself so that you can bring joy to your children when they've had a hard day at school. It's your job to fill yourself so you can offer momentum and pleasure and light to your family for movie night. You know, it is your job to just be you, because being you is the most powerful state you can be in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did
I jump too far? I apologize.
No, I wrote this article for the Huffington Post that was about, like, basically you have to be the most selfless thing you can be is selfish. Right? Like, you have to create you have to take care of yourself. And that's with, you have to eat well and sleep enough and exercise and have pleasure and joy. And it's only through taking care of yourself that you can really take care of others. You cannot really care for other people through, like, this depleted state. And you can't be unhappy enough to help others be happy. You can't be poor enough to help others be like abundant. Like, you have to be abundant in order to have to give, right? So a lot of people are like, oh, I think it's selfish to have more abundance, but it's like, how can you help anybody if you don't have any abundance yourself? Like, the more wealthy you are, the more good you can do with that wealth. And the more joy you have, the more you can help others have joy. But you cannot be, from your misery and from your, like, starved, like, or like your metaphor, from your, like, your dimmed little light, or your darkness. How can you can't be dark enough to light up anybody else, right? Like, you can only light up others with your light. So
I don't know how the flow got changed. I don't know where in our history. I don't know our history well enough as a species where the flow got changed, right? Like, this seems like a core, like, if you look at the cause and effect in the universe, right? And this seems so core to us as feminines, right? Masculine versus feminines, right? And I'm intentionally not saying male and female. I'm intentionally saying masculine strength or masculine traits versus feminine traits. I don't know how it got churned. I don't know how it got changed and into this concept of that you having less means that the world has more.
Yeah.
Right? And that's actually not my experience at all. You having less means the world has less. You are less in this world and less capable of giving. There is less abundance created from the engine that is you.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of cultures were matriarchal before, but a really happy, empowered woman is very powerful force.
She is a freaking powerful force. Don't you listen, mama?
Unbeatable, undefeatable,
Yes.
Like, so attractive. So, like,
yes.
She can control her, like, everything. And I think that there was a lot of fear from the patriarchy about that. And, women, like, super powerful that were out there, they were burned at the stake. Right. And I think, like, it's like these generational wounds and in our psyche around that. So a lot of women are terrified to be out there, to be public, to be bright and sharing their light. And there's this story that we're told that if you do that, not just from men, but other, like, women will want to tear you down. There's not enough space there's only room for one woman at the table. And if you're too bright and you're doing too much, then, like, that takes away from them. And it's like, in this, like, scarcity mentality, I think that a lot of that has created this situation where women feel like they have to care for others first, and they have to hide what's good, hide their good, hide their light, not shine too brightly. And but when they do, though, it really empowers everybody. There's so much there's, like, unlimited abundance in the universe. And the more that we glow, the more that we like are empowered and happy and, and wealthy and all of the things that we can be, the more we help others and we empower them to do the same. So it's just really, it's shifting that paradigm.
Well, shining with awareness is incredibly powerful. Being in a room and shining and having people go, wow, right, let's talk to you. Let's talk to Monick, right? She's shining, right? But then being in awareness, another woman walks up or a man walks up and you're like, hi, welcome. Like,
Yeah.
You're here. I'm here. Like, I see you, right? I'm not shining without you. I'm shining with you, right? On you. And you can shine right back at me. You can shine on me too. We can like have this together, right? There's no reason for you to not shine. So I think the shining with awareness, I don't know where we were before, and I don't know exactly where we're standing now, but I hope that's where we're going, right? Is shining with awareness, because then there's a welcoming that happens.
Yeah.
Where it truly is, you bring your abundance baby and I bring mine, and let's see what we can work together.
Yeah.
Right. And if it's not today, then maybe it's another day, or you're doing this over there and I'm doing this over there. But it was awesome having a shining moment with you and being able to see you. So yeah, I mean, that's why I hope we're going in this transition I was talking about, from more masculine.
I think we individually choose that, right? I shine. I'm gonna fill myself up so I can shine. Give you permission to shine.
You permission.
And there's this song that sings in my church, like, I love myself enough that I can love you. I love myself so much that I can love you so much that you can love you so much that you can start loving me. And it's just like, but it has to start with you loving yourself so much. And then it gives everybody else permission. And then you can love on others that way too.
Permission. So talk a little bit about, in real estate, feminine strength. Because I think some women might be like, okay, this is really nice. I love listening to this. I love having permission to shine. This is really great. And I have to deal with a field that's 90% men and 10% women. So I'll be talking to men more often than I'm talking to women. So how do I do that? How do I, because masculine strength kind of behaves this way, but feminine strength behaves this way. And it does behave a little differently in my experience. Why don't you talk to that?
Yeah. So I talk about the goddess secret sauce in my course. So first part of that is pleasure. So we've been talking about, like, you from your pleasure, staying pleasure, because a pleasured woman, like a happy pleasured woman, is so powerful. Like, everyone they want to work with her, they want to be with her, they want to please her, they want to help her be even more pleasured. And it's just there's this thought that being feminine is being weak, or you have to show up in like a way that's manipulative, and it's not like an empowered feminine is not that at all. No. But you can, just being in joy and loving yourself and loving on others, and just being really clear about what you want and letting people help you, because it's about asking and receives. And and just like saying, what would be really great if you could do this. And they're just, and men, I think they are wired to help women. They are wired to help women. And they need us to continue the species. We're important, and they want to be our heroes, and they want to help. And one part of our power is that we actually ask for help in a way that men do not. A lot of men don't like asking for help. We do, and that's actually one of the things that makes us very great at investors, because we seek out expert support, and we're good at getting it. So, but that pleasure is that first piece that really, because if we're not in a good state, it's very hard to do the rest. Then there's the intuition. We are, women's intuition is a real thing. I think everybody has intuitive capabilities, that the way that women's brains are formed, we have these connections between the hemispheres of our brains that men do not. And with those different hemispheres connecting more and speaking to each other, that means that we are receiving information on subconscious and superconscious levels that we can trust. We're often not taught to trust that in our culture. And it's like logic is like, oh, logic is put above that, but that intuitive side is receiving, logic is often based on this like 5% of things that we're getting on a conscious level, but there's 95% that we're getting on subconscious levels, and all of that comes in intuitively for us. And women get these intuitive messages if we get quiet enough or sensitive enough to hear it, that you can trust, and it's really powerful. And then the third step is having the abundance mindset. So success mindset. Success, Tony Robbins says, success is 20% strategy, 80% psychology. So 80% of our success is what happens between our ears. And if we need to get that right, get those limiting beliefs out of the way, put empowering beliefs into place, deal with the fears, and once you get that success mindset in place, that helps. And the fourth part is sisterhood. We are wired for connection, and we're wired for sisterhood. Like being around other women is actually really good for us. Our brains tell us this. So we get this dump of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, when we're making love, when we're breastfeeding, and when we are in groups of other women. So our brain's like, yay, good for you.
This is good. It feels sustaining. It feels fulfilling. It feels satisfying. Feels safe.
There's a UCLA study that looked at the ways that men and women deal with stress. And so we've been taught that when stress happens, that we fight, flight, or freeze. And they found that actually that's a masculine way of dealing with stress. The feminine way of dealing with stress is to tend and befriend. So
yes, we do.
Taking care of others and being in a community, that's the way that we best deal with stress. So and that sisterhood, if you have this our community, and some groups of women, because they're coming from this masculine paradigm where it's competitive, it can be kind of nasty, but that's not, I think, how we are at our core. And I know in our sisterhood at Real Estate Investor Glasses, I explicitly say when people join us, we have a non-competitive, non-catty, non-judgmental, supportive community where we love each other, we cheer each other on, and that's what we've created, and it's really, really beautiful. So when you have that, it's so empowering for women.
I agree. What else can I say? I agree. So we're almost out of time. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you another question. I know we didn't do any of the questions we talked about talking about, but I don't really care because we talked about what was important. So I don't care about that. What I do want to ask is that I know that you offer workshops. I'm going to go back to your website here for a minute. So I know that you offer workshops and trainings, right? You have your investor club, you have your podcast. But do you also take investor money in what you're doing as a professional investor?
Yeah, so the investor club is for people who want to get on our list to find out about to be able to participate in our offerings.
Okay.
So a lot of you probably know you need to have a pre-existing relationship with people to be able to get on these deals, and a lot of time many women were not in the loop on those. So that's right. That's my goal, to get more women just having access to these opportunities. That's what our investor club's about.
Okay. See, now that makes sense, because you can't You can't, you have to have a pre-existing relationship with people in order to roll them in your deals if you're going to be a syndicator,
That's
especially
interesting.
under some of the, yes, can you hear me?
Now I hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah. Especially if you're going to be, you know, under following the SEC guidelines in order to take syndications and all the investor money. So it makes sense in the investor club. That's a perfect way to do that. Because, and to me, I find people don't invest. The people who invest with me, I don't court investors because I'm not running syndications, right? I just have personal deals I'm doing in my investment portfolio. And I have people who have believe in me, and therefore they're like, hey, yeah, I want to give you money so that you can do whatever this next deal is. And they're people I know, like literally they're people some of them I've known for 15, 20 years. They're people I know, and I've known them for a while, right? And they kind of keep investing in my projects because I'm not, you know, I've gone from active to being passive. And so I just don't have the large projects that you know, that would take lots of investor money. Let's put it that way. Never been my gig, not the way I chose to be an investor. And so, you know, you really need to have your investors' trust before you take their money. Like that is what happens. That's the truth of us as human beings, is that we need to either I deeply vet somebody if I don't know them already before I invest with them, or I've known them for a while. But either way, I've developed a process of trusting them, knowing them, liking them, trusting them. Because if I'm going to hand them, whether it's $10,000, $100,000, or $1 million, I better freaking like them, trust them, right? And have a care for that. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to hand you a car, right? I'm going to hand you a house. I'm going to hand you the same amount of money I could buy a car with. I'm going to hand over to you. Same amount of money I could buy my house with. I'm going to hand over to you. And it's like, whew, that's a lot of trust.
It is.
It's a lot of trust. So if people want to get a hold of you, obviously there is your website. I understand that, but how do they get a hold of you? Do you want them to go to the website? Do you want them to call you? What do you want? How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah. The best way is to go to reigoddesses.com. If you're interested in being in the investor club, you click on it, you get the bottom, there's a questionnaire to fill out. And when you're done with that, it guides you to my calendar and you get on and we'll have a conversation. So that's probably the best way to get on the phone with me.
Right there. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So reigoddesses.com. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having a very extensive conversation with me about feminine power, masculine power, and you know, how as women, we can choose to participate pretty easily in a male masculine, is a currently masculine dominated field, which is now shifting because of groups like yours, where I'm seeing more and more women at these meetings. It used to be less than 10%. And now sometimes it's, you know, up to a quarter or a third will be women, very rarely a third, but maybe a quarter. And I consider that progress, right? I consider that progress in us being able to equalize between a masculine influence and a feminine influence. So, and you're one of those people contributing to that. So thank you.
Thank you.
This is Christina Suter with Real Estate Breakthrough. You can find me on Roku TV and YouTube. You can also find it on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and YouTube and iTunes, or you can go to christinasuter.com and you'll find information there. There's also lots of free information for you on that website, as well as FIBI Pasadena.com has 3 years worth of meetings. Try to give you as much free information as I can, because your education and your network is what defines your success in real estate. Thank you so much.